One of the most significant events in the Eorzean calendar, the Rising, looks to both the past and future. It commemorates the calamity and serves as a remembrance of those dark days, while also celebrating hope, reminding us that even when things seem darkest, we can survive and thrive in a bright future. Each year, the event is marked with a firework display in the city-states, and over the years, a variety of events have been held to mark the occasion. One year, there was an exhibition of art alongside a musical recital to remember the Sultana Seven, a band of brave souls who stood with Nanamo when she stepped out onto the streets to calm the rioting populace, when the Red Moon Dalamud fell and the Garlean invasion sparked panic in Ul'dah. Another year, a puppet show was held, retelling the story of the fall of Dalamud, and how Louis Sois and the Warrior of Light stood against the great dragon Bahamut. While this play was not entirely accurate in places, it was a great deal of fun, and occasionally downright silly, something that would go on to be a bit of a tradition for future events. Exemplified by one year when the Immortal Flames had an absolutely brilliant notion to fill the city streets with rampaging monsters in an exercise to promote awareness and preparation for the then very real threat of Garlean invasion. It was a realm of chaos, and you had to be there. And each year, the Rising is marked by a visit from the Wandering Minstrel, the mysterious musician who provides us fanfiction retellings of our greatest deeds. He was first seen prior to the calamity, warning anyone who would listen of the oncoming disaster, but few stopped to hear his words, and the Yellow Jackets of Limsa threw him in jail for inciting unrest. He escaped, but even 5 years later, after the time of the First Rising, the Yellow Jackets still had a warrant out for his arrest, and were keen to apprehend him when he was spotted visiting each city-state, to take part in remembrances and watch the fireworks displays. Which is probably why thereafter he limited his visits to Ul'dah. The Rising, as a time, seems significant to the Wandering Minstrel. Does he feel guilt for being unable to get his warnings out to enough people? Or is he merely a nostalgic man? During the calamity, with the authorities on the lookout for him, he took to the desperate move of placing messages in bottles and sending them out to sea, hoping that they might be found by people who would see his warnings and heed them, but all in vain, as so many would still die and the land be devastated. And now, each year, the minstrel joins the commemorations of the tragedies surrounding the Seventh Umbral Calamity. He performs recitals of reflection, and sometimes creates pungent potpourri using Nemean lilies, white flowers offered in memory to the dead, which are then handed out to the townsfolk, a scent that brings peace to those who have lost, and to those who have passed on. And somehow each year, we get roped into helping him out. He always smiles when we see him, but clearly he feels the tragedy of the calamity on a deep level, ever wanting to right the wrongs of the past. And every year, he plays a tune that overpowers our senses and triggers a dreamlike vision in which we meet a strangely familiar figure who calls himself Naoki Yoshida. On one occasion, this godlike being took us on a tour of a magical, faraway place he called the 18th Floor, where friendly faces worked at mysterious tasks, men of song and women of prose ardently working to craft worlds and stories beyond imagining. Another time, he made War Machina dance in the street. He's a powerful but mischievous deity, not at all too unlike a primal who seems to know our life and our journey. He encourages us, and somehow, somewhere, wherever we are on our adventures, we know he's looking out for us. And then the vision fades, and we find ourselves back in the real world, and share a moment with the minstrel, where he sings us a song inspired by our aid that all too often holds a cryptic key towards future events, as the firework displays burst over the city. This year is no different, with respect paid not only to the past of the calamity, but our own first steps into adventure and the world of Eorzea, showing a young brave adventurer the way through the start of his newfound journey. We're also reminded by Yoshida, unexpected hardships may turn our lives upside down, and though we all desire peace deep in our hearts, the sparks of conflict never cease to be struck. Like an adventurer's journey, the world is constantly moving forwards towards the unknown, and it takes considerable courage to alter course. And with that, we are warned that another great change is about to visit the world, but it shall open the way to exciting new journeys, and 'tis his abiding hope that our journey together shall ever continue on, to the distant horizon and beyond. For the Rising this year, we were not only remembering, but charting a new way for those who would follow our example. We who would walk before, leading those who would walk after. So, what is the Rising? A time of remembrance and of honoring what was and will be. Though the world was reborn, rising from the ashes of its destruction, it can never return to how it once was. Because, and in spite of this, we must walk ever forward, keeping our gaze upon the future, and seeking out new horizons. To put it another way, through our tales of fire, faith, and flame, we must forge ahead. But once a year, let us allow ourselves to halt our steps. Let us look back upon the past, and remember those we have lost. For it is their memory that gives us the strength to carry on. This content was brought to you by the Eorzean Archives. If you enjoyed this video, help us please the 12 by leaving a like and subscribing for new content every Thursday, and comment down below with any topic you'd like to see our archons cover in the future. For even more content, discussion, and exclusives, please check out our Discord and consider supporting us on Patreon.